1985. So it's how everything looked in 85. So you can like barely make out like whatever casinos were there and like what Nellis looked like. But yeah, every single jet we've ever flown in an amazing mural. Yeah.
I love it. You know what? That's a piece of history that is not just a piece of history, but like a story, like a whole entire story. Was it painted by one person or a team?
Yes.
Do you know?
Yes. I believe it's one person signed it.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for this week's Q&A. I decided to go a little off the beaten path, as we do talk a lot about breast cancer and cancer research, but I had the pleasure and the excitement, I admit it, I was like starstruck, I'm just going to tell you, of meeting Captain Katie Moorcamp and Lieutenant, whose name I cannot pronounce, but you can tell me what it is in a moment, at an event, and it turns out they're Thunderbirds. Woo! So welcome, Captain Katie. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. I am so excited to be here. And now it's Major Jason Markson that you met as well. Yeah, our number 8 pilot.
Yes, and he was awesome. You guys let me drill you with questions, and I realized, why can't we do this in our Q&A? So I wanted to get.
Yes, and we love it too. I feel like we're starved for
starved for what? I know.
Sorry, it's a little broken up. Sorry. We're like starved for like talking to people, you know, like we're human interaction. That's the word, starved for human interaction. And it was so cool to, I mean, you know, it's kind of a socially distanced event, so that was great. But just to be able to talk to you, we were so excited to talk to you and just finally get to like talk to people, answer questions, tell people about what we do.
Well, and you know what? I think that is what really got me started down this path. Was one of the things that we do with our Q&A is learn, right? And anytime I can learn, I'm excited. And one of the things that I didn't realize is that you guys are actually stationed out of Las Vegas. Have you always been stationed out of Las Vegas?
That's a really good question. No, in 1953, when we were first founded, we were founded in Phoenix, Arizona at Luke Air Force Base. That's where we were born. We didn't stay there long, though. I think we only stayed there about a year until we moved up to Las Vegas.
Wow. So 1954, the Thunderbirds were established.
1953 in Phoenix, but 1954 we moved up to Las Vegas.
Okay, very good. So why do we have the Thunderbirds? I do know I am starstruck, which is so funny because I don't like to fly, but you guys do amazing things. But what was the thought process behind the Thunderbirds originally?
Yeah, great question. So our mission is to recruit, retain, and inspire. So the Thunderbirds were created as the Air Force's Air Demonstration Squadron, and it's really the link between our Air Force and most of the country. We, you know, say all the time that most of the shows that we go to are civilian show sites in smaller towns where the majority of the interactions the interactions that we have with those people is really one of the only interactions that they're going to have with the military. Because I think we, at least on like, you know, in the Air Force, we're constantly around other Air Force people, and we forget that we're just a very small section of society. And we truly are the link between America's Air Force, America's military, and most of the civilian population. But more than that, too, we really demonstrate like the pride and precision. We represent every single one of the 685,000 airmen in the Air Force today. And it's our honor to go out there and put on the best show that we possibly can and just completely wow everyone. And just as a representation of what the whole Air Force is capable of. All of us, all 130 of us Thunderbirds team members, are members of the active duty Air Force. We came from active duty units and we'll go back to other active duty units. This is just one stop in our careers. So that's really cool that we we represent 685,000 airmen.
Which is crazy because you just told me there was 130 of you, or 103. Which did you say?
130 total. So there's
Ah.
12 officers, and then about, I guess if you do that public math, about
You don't
100
have to.
yeah,
I believe
the
you.
rest are all 130 total, 12 of which are officers. There you go. I'll put it that way.
There we go.
And yeah, those 130, there's about 30 different career fields that are made up or represented in that squadron, which is really, we're the only squadron in the Air Force like that. Every other squadron has maybe one, maybe two, maybe three different career fields. To have 30 that are everything from pilots to maintainers to communications troops to finance, it's insane. Like, it's unheard of.
Yeah. So you have 130 crew members, but you don't have 130 jets, right? How many jets do you have?
We currently have 12.
Oh, okay.
12 red, white, and blue jets. Yes. Yeah.
And are they always red, white, and blue?
That's a super, super question. So the 13th jet that we're working on right now is actually a gray jet. And so we get them when they're gray. So like what everyone will see, like, flying around Vegas,
Yeah.
the majority of those planes, right, are gray. And that's how they come to us as well. And we're really excited because we convert those jets into red, white, and blue. We take out the gun system. Actually, we completely take that out and we install a smoke system instead. So that little, the button that would usually be used to like shoot the guns or shoot missiles, actually turns the smoke on instead. So we install a smoke system and then we paint the entire jet red, white, and blue. It takes us a little over a year, but yeah, they come to us gray, and yeah, they will stay red, white, and blue for the rest of their lives.
So I realized I didn't tell you I was going to ask this question. So if I have to edit this out, you'll let me know. But
You're right.
How do you acquire the jets? Are they retired combat jets or?
No, they're definitely not retired. So they're prior combat jets, that's for sure. But they, just like we come from other active duty units, other gray units, we like to call them.
Yeah.
The jets come from other gray units. And it's really like a huge puzzle piece to where the jets are. Because we don't take one that's brand new for sure, but we also don't take one that's at the end of its lifespan, because we fly these jets hundreds and hundreds of hours every single week. We fly them a lot, so that adds up to hundreds and hundreds of hours. So we kind of do this like whole puzzle of like trying to figure out which unit and which jet that they can give to us. And then, like I said, we make it red, white, and blue, so it's not unlike us where we'll go back to the gray units. Those jets won't go back to being gray jets because there's just no way that it would make sense to paint it gray again. So It is that it will finish out the rest of its life as a Thunderbird, but it's a long, long life.
Wow. Right. So how many, I'm jumping around here, but I'm so excited. That's what's so funny about this.
Yeah.
Is had I have known even 10 years ago that your job is to connect with the community, I would have been after you back then. So now I'm like, all right, I have all these questions I need to ask. And I think that's one of the I think that's one of the great things about running into people in the community is that we really are we're a small town here, really. It's not tiny, but it's a small town, and I love the idea of taking care of my neighbor, right? Like, I'm there for them.
Yes.
So I was so fascinated about I know you kind of have, I thought you had a mandate to be more community related, but you are, period. That's your job in general, is the community. And that's the community is the entire United States, but it's still a community, right? Yes. So when you fly, not you personally, but I mean the Thunderbirds as a whole, what is the largest number of planes you'll have in the air at any one time?
So when we return to Las Vegas from a show on the Monday, usually on Monday, that's the most jets we'll have in there, and it's 8. And so people will see, and this is super exciting for us too, because people probably have seen us flying over Las Vegas first with the salute to the first responders, but that really paved the way for what we call the Las Vegas arrival, where we have 3 different routes that we run: an east route, a west route, and a south route. West takes us over Summerlin and then up the strip.
Okay.
West takes us over, or excuse me, east takes us over Boulder City and up the strip. And then the south, we start at the South Point Casino and just run right up the strip. Smoke on all 8 jets. We call it the Super Delta. So the 6 jets are the Delta, the 8 jets on, and it's only when we're returning, because during any other show, those 7 and 8 jets, Thunderbirds 7 and 8, they are the ground safety observers for the demonstration. And then 8 is a backup safety and the narrator. So they're always on the ground for shows. They don't fly in the demonstration. But when we return to Las Vegas and we do the Vegas arrival and we come screaming up the strip with our smoke on, that's the Super Delta, that's 8 jets. And it's really exciting, because that used to be super, super rare. And now that we're trying to do the Las Vegas arrival as many times as we can, we're even more excited to connect with the Vegas community and just say, hey, we're here, we're back home, this is our hometown, we're so excited to be here, we love you guys. And that's been really special for us.
So when this might be a silly question, but do you have an online schedule of your events so we know when you're flying home so we can be ready?
Yes, so we're still working on that. Right now, so our schedule, our schedule is online, afthunderbirds.com. And then I'll shameless plug our Facebook, Air Force Thunderbirds, and our Instagram, at AF Thunderbirds. And then Twitter is also at AF Thunderbirds. We will post the arrivals and the approximate times it's usually Mondays. Our schedule is that we leave on Thursday. We leave Nellis on Thursday. We go where we're going to go. We do a practice show on Friday. We fly Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday we return back to Vegas. So it's almost always on a Monday. Sometimes there's some weird ones. And we try and post on our Instagram whenever we're coming up, whether it's going to the east route, the west route, or the south route, and an approximate time. The only issue with the times is that a lot of times we're coming from at least 2 to 3, 4, even 5 hours away. And we're reliant on 2 to 3 tankers, because our jets can only stay in the air. We only have enough gas for about an hour and a half. They're little guys and they fly really fast, but they're little guys and they fly really fast. So we have to refuel about every hour and a half. So we're reliant on tankers to meet us and take us across the country. And if one is delayed or it's early, we try and get as close as we can to those times. But after a 6-hour sortie, it's really hard to hit it right on the nose. But we will be posting it on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, letting Vegas know when we're coming, which we're coming, and to look to the skies, because we're going to say hi and we're going to be back home.
I kind of feel, I know personally, I'd be willing to wait, right? So I'd be like, I know it's happening today. I'll just be checking. Okay, let's go back for 1 second, because I'm a layman. When you say you have tankers that have to fill you up, does that mean you have to land?
Sorry.
Do you have to land, get filled up, and then take off again?
No. So what we usually try and do is have aerial refueling planes.
Oh my God.
Aerial tankers. Yes. There's actually there's a few, I think there's a few pictures on our Instagram, you kind of scroll through, of videos and pictures taken from photographers who were in the back seat of aerial refueling missions. And it is insane. I was on a flyover when I was in the back seat during an aerial refueling. It was, well, actually during 3 or 4, but it was so crazy. It was one of the coolest things I'd ever seen. And it's literally just, 6 jets flying behind a tanker that's got, drops its boom and puts the gas in the gas tank. Like everyone's just flying around waiting at the gas station. Like it's pretty cool.
That is the craziest thing. I mean, I've heard of it, I've seen it on the news, and I just never really think about that being the way to do it. That is so crazy to me. But it is better than having to take off and land like 20 times, right? I mean, that would be crazy.
So we do. Oh, yeah. And it's impractical. We do have to do that sometimes. Unfortunately, we can't get an aerial tanker every time. And in that case, we call it hopping. We just hop across the country where we need to go. But when you put a jet on the ground, when you land it and you shut it down and then you refuel it and then you start it back up, you always run the risk of something going wrong, and not having the entire team there to fix it. So that's a huge risk that we run when we hop, when we actually stop, get gas, and then take off again to another place. And when that happens, we have to deal with it, but it's much easier and it's much less risk to do aerial refueling.
It's just fascinating to me. It's fascinating, oddly enough.
I
mean,
no, it is. It totally is.
It's all of these things. One, it shows how inventive we are as a group of people in general, that we can refuel our airplanes in the air. That's crazy.
Yes.
All right.
Totally. Yes.
So the other thing that I noticed when I met the two of you was you call each other by a number.
Yes.
And I know you are number 10, are you not?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, good. So explain that to me.
Yeah, so it's really cool and it's very unique to the Thunderbirds. So like I said earlier, I kind of touched on, there's 12 officers. And our informal go-bys, our call signs, are our numbers. So boss is number 1, he's the commander. And then 2 is on the left wing. 3 is on the right wing, and 4 is in the slot position. So they make up the diamond, and the slot is the one that's just tucked underneath boss's jet. Number 5 is the lead solo. Number 6 is the opposing solo. And a little tidbit of insider information: every year, number 6 graduates and becomes number 5. So that's a graduated position. He or she becomes the lead solo, which is pretty cool. Number 7 is the operations officer. 8, Major Markson. He is the advanced pilot and the narrator. So he'll go out a day prior to us and he'll lay the groundwork. He works with the FAA, works with the show sites, make sure everything's squared away. But he's also the narrator during shows. So those are the pilots. Those are 1 through 8 are all the pilots. 1 through 6 are the demonstration pilots. And then 9 through 12, we're the support officers. 9 is a flight surgeon. He is a fully board certified doctor, and he's our flight surgeon for the whole entire 130 person squadron. Number 10, me, I'm the executive officer. So I handle all of the admin, all of the force support actions on behalf of the commander. And then I also handle a lot of the logistics. I have the same command authority as, so the joke is that they say I herd the cats, which is true. Very true. Number 11 is our maintenance officer, and number 12 is our public affairs officer.
Wow.
Yeah, so the numbers are kind of like
Captain Nelson?
Yes.
Look at me.
Yeah, you got it.
I know 3 Thunderbirds. I feel like I have reached the epitome, the pinnacle. That's very exciting. But it's awesome. So it's interesting that let's back up one, because inside information. Number 6 always graduates to number 5. So what happens to number 5?
So number 5 is always a second year person, and all of our tours are 2 years. Okay. So, so all of our tours are 2 years. So after your second year, you graduate, you go back to, you get another assignment in the Air Force. So number 5 is always a second year. And after that, then they're done with the team.
Got it.
Yeah.
So then that leads me to 2 questions that I need answered. Number 1, and I don't care what order you decide to answer these in. Okay. One of them is, why did you pick the Thunderbirds? And along with that, how do the Thunderbirds pick you guys? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yes. Really good questions. I think I'll tackle the first one first. So I wanted to be a Thunderbird, and I applied I guess the easiest way to put it is I met the first female Thunderbird pilot when I was in high school at an event. I'm from outside St. Louis, Missouri. And I remember meeting her when they came for a show in St. Louis, Major Fifi Malkowski. And I just remember being like, holy smokes, like
Yeah.
we can do it. Like, we can do anything, you know,
Yeah.
like this girl, you know, I'm a woman, but this girl is a Thunderbird pilot. Like, what can't we do, you know? And just having this like really empowered moment of like, maybe, you know, like what's stopping me, you know, and what can't I do? And it was really cool. And that was always just kind of in the back of my brain. I went to the Air Force Academy, graduated from there. I've been in the Air Force for about 7.5 years. And I really didn't think, like, it was really cool. Right. And I definitely attribute meeting her and talking to her and just hearing, you know, her story and what she'd done as to like, wow, I'm capable of anything. I ultimately did not become a pilot. So I didn't really think anything more about the Thunderbirds until I was in Korea. And then again, so that I actually worked for a previous Thunderbird 10, and I had no idea that there were people on the Thunderbirds who weren't, or officers on the Thunderbirds who weren't pilots. Obviously, we have a lot of maintainers that take care of the jets and a lot of other support personnel. I just didn't realize that there was like an executive officer and that's my career field. And I was like, holy smokes. And I remember him kind of telling me, you know, like you could do that job. And I was like, whoa. But I was also raised by, you know, I had a lot of strong women influences. My mom worked full time when I was a kid. And she really just showed me as well, like that there's nothing we can't do as long as we're willing to work hard, show up, you know, and really just be passionate about what we're doing. And I love just like talking to other people about like, you know, what we're capable of. And it's like, no, like, what are you passionate about? Like, I love hearing about other people's passions.
Well, it's
and that
too bad
those
you're
two
not
things
very good at it, you know?
I know, I'm working on it.
I mean, like it's so disappointing. No, I'm totally kidding. I can see why you want to do it. It's okay to want to do it. It's even better when you want to do it and you're really good at it. So I commend you on that. So, and that is awesome. Actually, that is a great story. I feel that all women, that's the other reason why I'm so glad I did this, right? I mean, we deal with breast cancer every day, every single day, and people are fighting it and all of that. And that's great. And my job is to end breast cancer forever. But on the flip side of that coin is women that are doing what they want to do, there's still options in life, right? There's still things that we can accomplish. And men, don't misunderstand me.
Yes.
I love them. They can accomplish much as well, but that is great. All right. So you were inspired by somebody else.
Yes.
When you realized you could still do it, you jumped at the chance. Is that what happened?
So I did. Yeah. So this commander that had been a prior Thunderbird, he's one of my mentors, and I really appreciated him saying like, hey, you need to work on these things, you know, and then apply in 2 years. So I went and I took another assignment that was really difficult and taught me everything that like we had talked through, learned a lot. And then I applied to the team. And so then to answer your second question, which is just really good question. So the application process for officers is pretty big deal. It's a pretty long and intense process, and it's really twofold to see if you're really committed to this team. It's and then also to see if you're the right kind of person and if you fit well with the team as well. Because we're on the road over 200 days a year. I think it's a lot more than that. It's maybe like over 220 days a year.
Wow.
And so we spend a lot of time together, and we really are like a family. And just like any family, you know, we agree and we disagree. But like a family, we come back together at the end of the day and we do an exceptionally good job of getting the job done. So the application process, so you apply, you have to put together this huge package. You have to get basically like all of your military records. You have to get endorsement and recommendations from your boss, your commander, and then other influential leaders that in the Air Force as well, or other people in the Air Force that'll basically just, you know, vouch, and they'll say like, hey, you know, I recommend this person. And so you can get a bunch of those. And then you have to put together a letter. You have to write a letter to the team and tell them why you want to be on the team.
Okay.
And then there's a lot of other things like you put together a resume, a targeted resume, and then a couple other things. But it's basically this huge package of like your entire military career and then all the personal stuff as well, and then you submit it. And it's usually in February of each year that they're due. And then you don't hear anything for a while because there's so many applications coming into the team and we're trying to figure out, just sift through it all. So then about a couple weeks or months or so later, we announce finalists. So if 10 people apply for each job, we can't take all 10 as, final applicants and, interview them all. So we cut it down to, a more manageable number, maybe like 2 or 3 per position, all depending on the year. These are all just ballpark numbers depending on how many we get. And then we invite those people out for an interview. And when I say interview and when I said interview, in the past, when I thought of interviews, it's not at all like what this is. So we invite the finalists out for an entire weekend at a location that we're at. So we call them applicant trips or appy trips because it's the military, a long word we need to shorten, we need to acronym. Yeah. So my appy trip was in Waco, Texas. And we landed on a Thursday and we stayed until Monday when the team left. And we were basically being formally and informally interviewed the entire time.
Yeah.
So that was crazy. And it's all the finalists together. So I kind of joke around sometimes. I feel like it was like the Hunger Games. You're just like, because everyone, you're just like, oh my word, this person is so smart and so good. And oh my word, and, but it's like you're on interview, you're informally being interviewed the whole time. And there's also a bunch of formal interviews as well, with the generals that are senior leadership over our team. And then it culminates in what we call a 12-man interview where we're interviewed by all 12 officers at the same time.
Oh my gosh.
And it is super intimidating. Yeah. The questions are very hard and super intimidating. And then at the end of that weekend, we go back to our bases and then we wait again because the Chief of Staff of the Air Force is the one who ultimately selects the officers that are going to be on the Thunderbirds. So once those decisions are made, I remember I got a call at trying to remember, I think it was at the end of May or beginning of June. I got a call from the current commander and everyone was on speakerphone just yelling, congratulations, welcome to the team. And it was,
yay!
Yeah, I remember I was at the gym and I was just like, wait, what? Oh my goodness.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. So let me ask you this though, from this point of view, just out of curiosity, let's say not you, but someone applied and they didn't make it this year. Can they apply again? Or do you only get to apply once and then it's over?
Sorry, you cut out a little bit, but I think I got the gist of it. Yeah. So it's normal for pilots to apply a couple times. There's usually like a window that you're in. Actually, it's normal for just about, there's a couple positions, like leadership positions, that you kind of age out of. But the vast majority of the positions, yes, you can apply into, so it's every 2 years, but yeah, you can apply again in 2 years. Okay. Sometimes if you hit that window right, I mean, we've had people apply a few times. And they get better and they hone their skills and all that stuff. Yeah. And it might be the third time they apply and we're like, oh my goodness, yes, this is our guy. This is absolutely our guy. And the Chief of Staff says, yep. And then we hire him. But yeah, awesome. There's a little bit of a window, a little bit of a time that you can play with there.
Now this is just a random question because I know I'm getting close to my end of my time. And that is, would you say then that most people that are on the Thunderbirds really want to be there?
Yes.
Yeah. It's I really want to be a Thunderbird scenario, correct?
Yes. Okay. Yes. And my teammates are, I'm blown away by the kind of people they are, their passion, the amount of hard work, that they just innately do. I absolutely love it. Like every single one of my teammates inspires me. And I am just so fortunate to be on this team because I can go through I can go through a list and be like, oh, here's so-and-so. He's He's an aircraft maintainer, and he got selected to go to officer training school. So he'll be leaving in February to become, a pilot in the Air Force. Here's another guy who's working on his PhD.
Yeah.
And they're just everyone, obviously we all have good days and bad days, but by and large, like everyone's so excited to be here. They're so excited to come in and do their job because we're all so proud of what we do and what we represent and everyone that we represent. This is really, really cool. I am so motivated and so inspired by all of my teammates, and I'm just so excited to be here.
And I think that's probably also why us, the laymen, are so excited to like talk to you or to go. I mean, it's the talent level, obviously. What you guys do is kind of amazing. I couldn't do it. It's not in my wheelhouse. And how many women officers? There's at least 2 of you, right?
There's 3.
There's 3. And are there no women pilots at this moment?
There is one. Yes, number 5. She's a female.
Awesome.
Yes.
Not that I'm all about, I mean,
Yes.
I'm a woman, so
Yes.
yeah, I'm in, let's make the girls shine. But I just was curious. It's, it's something I don't hear a lot about. And I don't think that, it's not like individuals. I couldn't tell you one individual Thunderbird except for you, but it's a team effort. And that's what I love. I love that idea that it's all of you together accomplishing some really great things. So
like to reiterate how much form these connections as well. So this has absolutely been an honor for me. And then again, I want to do one more shameless plug for like all of our social media stuff.
Oh yes.
Because we are in our training season right now, and we are making some really exciting changes. We might be, we might be about 70, almost 70 years old as an organization, as a Thunderbirds. But we're looking for ways to make things fresh and exciting. So stay tuned. Air Force Thunderbirds on Facebook, at AF Thunderbirds on Instagram and Twitter, because we are about to unveil some really exciting things in the coming months, and we can't wait for everyone to see it. So thank you again so much.
We'll put that information in the in the box so that they can just literally click the link and go directly to those. So that'll be great.
Oh, good.
Awesome.
Good. Perfect.
Thank you, Captain Katie.
Thank you so much.